Thank you very much, committee, for hearing me today. My name is Simon Gillis. I'm 36 years old and I've held a firearms licence since I was 16. For the past 12 years, I've worked as a pipeline engineer in Taranaki, dealing almost exclusively with high pressure cross-country oil and gas pipelines. With that, risk assessment is a constant consideration in my job. On top of that, I'm a keen hunter and a competitive target shooter. I've competed in a wide range of shooting disciplines over my 30 years of shooting. Due to time constraints today, I wish to limit my submission to 2 points really. The first point is regarding the deepening lack of trust that firearms owners hold for the police in New Zealand. As I see it, the lack of trust licensed firearm owners feel for the police stems from the following points. Years of police policy interpretations of the Arms Act that have been successfully challenged and overturned in court. Years of proposed amendments to the Arms Act that have been shown as unworkable, impractical and ineffective against the criminal misuse of firearms. The continual change to the current confiscation or buyback policy and the poorly thought out order in councils. The example of that would be the prohibited ammunition ban and the lack of compensation associated. And then on top of that, the current arms legislation bill and its proposal to remove basic rights and add unjustified bureaucracy to licensed firearm owners on the vague notion of increased public safety, a notion that is not supported by the statistics. On top of that, it proposes to shift the ability to make legislation away from Parliament and to the Commissioner of Police, with little or no right of appeal. This simply shows the police lack understanding of lawful firearms use in New Zealand, and in saying that, they lack competence with regards to firearms law, policy, and overall the administration of the Arms Act. This supports the formation of a new and independent body to administer the Arms Act, leaving the police to law enforcement only. My second point is regarding practical shooting events in New Zealand. I'm a founding member of Gillis Practical Rifle Events. We are a volunteer organisation that runs practical rifle shooting events in and around the central North Island. This organisation was born out of our want to have our target shooting better reflect the shooting we were doing while hunting. This has expanded over time. We now run about half a dozen events on farms, on about half a dozen farms around the central North Island. As I say, we primarily run our events on farms, not on formal flat range facilities. The use of farms allows us to set stages in natural terrain to specifically reflect hunting and practical scenarios. This is not possible on flat formal ranges. There are many similar simulated field shooting events around New Zealand, and in a similar theme, there is also a large number of clay target events aimed specifically at duck shooters or duck shooters eye-opener events. Under the currently drafted arms legislation bill, GPRE and these similar organisations will highly likely cease to operate these events due to the anticipated cost and difficulty in not only getting certification as a club, but then also getting achieving the certification of arms as rangers. The requirements for local council consent, which involves a 10 grand application fee. On top of that, range certification is expected to be more than $3,000 per location, and that's based on volunteer work. And the unknown cost of the basically unlimited power of the police commissioner to apply any other control they see fit. With those in case I expect these shooting events will cease. I am left to wonder, what is the demonstrable gain to our New Zealand society from this certification and authorisation of clubs and target shootings? What firearms threats to society will this address? Once a person is licensed to own a firearm, they will be able to go out on public and private, with permission land, and hunt. They are deemed fit and proper, and the Arms Code focuses on 7 basic principles of safe use of firearms. How does this change with target shooting to such an extent to now require police authorisation and certification?
Got about a minute left.
I'll finish with my recommendations. The proposed arms legislation bill, I recommend it is scrapped in its entirety. I recommend that New Zealand wait until the Royal Commission of Inquiry to report back on Christchurch, and then, and only then, if required, a new bill is drafted. This new bill should be drafted with a specific and effective engagement of the New Zealand firearms owning community, because that hasn't happened so far. Lastly, and my last point, I support a sporting exemption to the current Act for the use of semi-automatic firearms. If you have any questions.
We've actually only got about 10 seconds left, so I'm not sure we've got any time for questions. If you had a burning one that members...
Actually, just a real brief one is the nature of the GPRE events. your shooting sports for hunters? What do they look like?
It's pretty much what you'd expect. On a farm, we'll set up specific stages and targets in a natural terrain, and the competitors will be given a safety briefing and given ROs and all the rest of it, and then under a time limit, we'll be asked to shoot targets in a specific order or whatnot. It's sort of IPSC, but very much hunting orientated. So random distances, time limits, time pressure, the rest.
But different again to the long distance shooting stuff.
We do long distance shooting as well, but we also do it for shorter distance and medium distance and rim fires, and we cover a range of things.
Right. Okay, Simon, thank you for coming and making that submission today and for putting it into us. We appreciate your input. Thank you.